Reverend fathers, reverend sisters, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. Good morning. So my name is Elizabeth Asasha, and I am honored to welcome you all to this panel discussion as shared on economic hardships and the aspirations of Africa's youth, a pastoral response to unemployment, migration, and social exclusion. So it is within the broader theme of the 21st Amecea Plenary Assembly, which is a synodal journey with young people, building bridges of communion, hope, justice, and good governance. And this conversation, as Pope Francis would consistently encourage young people to be protagonists of hope, the conversation asks a very simple but very important question. How do we journey with young people at a time when economic uncertainty is shaping so many of our dreams, so many of our decisions, and so many of our aspirations? And we are privileged to have a distinguished panel representing the church, academia, entrepreneurship, and of course to help understand the diversity of this panel constitution, I would like to welcome each one of our panelists to briefly tell us who they are, what they do, and just perhaps say something on what gives them hope about young people in today. So, I don't know. I know we are happy that we have a moderator who is a female today, but in the Constitution, I think we are just the two of us. How I wish that was reflected when they were selecting the panel members. Anyway, I'll start with the lady in the house. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. All protocols observed. My name is Chebet Lesan, and I am the founder and CEO of a company called Bright Green Energy. And our work in Kenya has been transformational for the last 10 years. We started in 2016. And what we do is we transform biomass waste, which is waste that comes from crops after harvest, and we produce fuel that then replaces both firewood and charcoal in homes and industries across Kenya. I think, just to answer your question about bringing hope, for me, when I think about the state of Kenya now, it reminds me a lot about when we were starting our business. So I am a single founder, and I remember at the time when God planted this idea in my heart, it was a very lonely place to be. And at that time, I remember distinctly thinking how whenever I spoke about this thing, even to the people who are close to me, friends, family, parents, nobody understood what it is that we were trying to do. And looking back at that time, one of the most important lessons I learned is, as a visionary, when God plants an idea in your mind, it's kind of like planting a seed in the ground. It's a very private thing. And one of the biggest disservices you can do to yourself is to become offended because people do not see what you see. Actually, your responsibility lies in bringing out that which God has put in you to be able for the people around you to see. So when I started, I remember that there was a lot of naysaying around what we did. And it didn't make any sense. We didn't have money. We didn't have a good cash flow to be able to go to a bank and ask for, support to be able to do this. And what kept me going at that time, I remember, was always surrounding myself with what was possible. So creating and renewing my mind, aligning with what God had put in my heart and in my mind. And for the first 2 years, it didn't make any sense, but we started to see some kind of growth. And then with the growth came more opportunity and more support. And for me, I think the hope as a young person then, because that was 10 years ago, I'm still in the youth category legally in Kenya. So I was very young. I was almost straight out of campus. I think at that particular time, the most important thing was to surround myself with positivity, to surround myself with what God had put in my heart, and then to be obedient, which means action on that which I was told to do. And I feel that in situations for many young people like myself, if we choose to look outside at what is happening around us, then many times it's a very grim picture. And we really don't contribute to being part of the solution by looking around and, trying to like magnify the problem. So I think that our solution as young people really comes from putting ourselves on the front line and asking ourselves, what can we do to be part of the solution? So from that period until where we are now, we have been so privileged to have gotten support not only from Kenya, from around the world. Bright Green is now a company that has received so many awards from practically every continent. I don't think there's a continent that has not supported our work, both through visibility and through funding. And all of this has come from looking within, obedience, and actioning on that which God has put in our heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chebet. And briefly, Alex, kindly introduce yourself.
All protocols observed. Good morning. My name is Alex Nderito Wandia. I am a Kenyan entrepreneur. I am a youth mentor. But career-wise, I run a company by the name African Basics, which basically deals with apparel and branding. My journey basically did not start in a boardroom. It started in campus. I started by selling earrings and t-shirts to earn some pocket money to get me through campus. But as Chebet has also said, it took my resilience, it took me starting to be able to get to where I am today. Through that resilience and through sticking to the course, we've been able now to be a fully fledged company, having run for almost 2 decades now, since campus in 2006, registered in 2012, and now able to employ and give opportunity to other young people through them coming up with their own brands, coming through to get mentorship, coming into enterprise through our company, and basically just giving them a sense of belonging to start something.
Great. And what gives you hope about young people today?
The beauty about young people today is how they always come out with that main character energy. If you have observed, even since the inception mass on Sunday, any young person that was given a chance to even talk to the bishops or even address the crowd, they had this energy, they had this confidence that they actually belong, that they actually want to fight for their space. And if that was to be harnessed, that would be something that can be used to advance careers, can be used to advance the church, can be used to advance even any strategy that one would be wishing to advance. And I think that is actually what has been seen all over the world, especially in the political scene. They've been able to tap that, and they know these guys just need a space. They just need an audience. They just need a voice. Give them that, and they are able to push forward and do amazing things.
Absolutely. And of course, they say young people are the present, not just the future, as we used to say conventionally. We have a representative from the corporate world. I'll invite him also to introduce himself briefly.
Thank you. My name is Paul Russo, the Chief Executive Officer for KCB Group. KCB Group is present in 7 countries in Eastern Africa: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and DRC, as well as with a rep office in Ethiopia. Humbled to be here to represent the corporates. Unfortunately, I'll have to bias my examples towards KCB. Those of you who have heard me speak, I say I'm a hawker of hope. And you know, when you hawk, you must be able to walk around and transfers. If I look back with the opportunity through the Catholic Church, and I said that over dinner on Sunday, and Food for the Hungry International as well, having been my sponsors right from Marsabit to be here today. And there is reason to hawk hope. A son of a pastoralist, nomad, leading the largest bank in Eastern Africa, isn't something to take for granted and rooted in the Catholic Church. But we have responsibility when we become CEOs of corporates to expand and advance those opportunities for the younger population. I think when we talk about hope, the creativity, in my view, the resilience of the youth in all the markets that we operate in that I've seen and across Africa is what gives me hope. It's on record, 1 out of 5 young people in Africa actually pursue entrepreneurship. It is the highest in the region. And therefore, corporates cannot, stay on the sidelines in trying to drive that opportunity for youth. And let me just give, as I come to a close on this one, let me give some statistics, and I'll try to be specific. We've got 3 programs for KCB. In Kenya, many of you have heard Tujiajiri. In Uganda, it's called Twekoseze. In Burundi, it's called Itere Imbere. In Rwanda, it's called Igere. On combined, we've trained 38,000 youth in entrepreneurship. We've created around 137 new jobs and opportunities in MSMEs, and we've created around 374 opportunities on a collective through our KCB Foundation. And therefore, the message that I'm trying to put around is, in that whole aspect, as we try and broadcast hope, corporate cannot be on the sidelines. Corporate must be at the heart of it. And for those who are Catholics, and I think I emphasize that, we must be able to thrive, to deliver the Catholic social teachings in bringing that to life. Yes, institutions as diverse as we are, but we must embody the faith as well and be counted.
Thank you, Mr. Paul Russo. And what you mentioned about the number of young people who are in entrepreneurship, I think is validated by the fact that we have 3 of the panel members are entrepreneurs, the young people, including Ken here. Kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, good morning. Riding on the protocols established. My name is Ken Joroga, and maybe I'll start with the question, Elizabeth, you're posing. Why am I hopeful about the youth? I think, many years ago, I think could have been 1990 or so, I was in mid-high school. I grew up in a small town called Nakuru. And what I see in Kenya and in Africa today around the youth reflects a lot what I saw around me. So we lived in a plot where, like on a 1-acre plot, there were stone houses, mud houses, and wooden houses. So we lived there. And all of young people grew up. Some had ambition, different levels of ambition. And when I look at youth, I see that it's just really tens of millions of youth in East Africa, in Kenya, hundreds of millions of youth in Africa that really reflect that setting. And from that setting, I'm also shaped a lot by the Catholic Church. So we played football at the Christ the King Cathedral in Nakuru. I went on and I did my high school in Nakuru. I came to Nairobi after high school, 93. And I was surprised, actually, that people spoke English very well. So it tells you the setting. But then I ended up in Strathmore, again, another Catholic institution, and I got into technology. And I ended up having a very long career in technology, but very specifically building technology businesses. So the largest part of that career was building a business called Cellulant, which is one of the largest payments companies in Africa. So we have about 17 offices in different countries, in East, Central, and Southern Africa, and we serve 35 countries. But what was very special about that company was that the average age was about 26. So most of the technology talent, commercial talent, financial talent, essentially Cellulant was their first job or second job. And together, you watched these people come together to do exceptionally good work that built a lot of impact. About now, by last count, about 60 of those people have gone on to start their own companies with the same methods. They employ the same people, young people, and so on. And I think 3 of those companies are actually bigger than Cellulant. So I did that work. I retired 2021. I was actually hell-bent on retiring. But the last 2 years, something very strange has happened. I've I must admit, very reluctantly, been pulled into another mission, which is actually teaching entrepreneurship, the use of taking all these lessons, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and packaging them into a curriculum for people that are actually building business. And so the question there is, why must we care about the youth? It's because, the small and medium-sized enterprises, I think there's about 44 million of them in Africa. They're run by youth, and they employ 70% of a continent's youth. That's where the jobs of the future will come from. And they contribute about 50% of the economy, and they lack the skills. I'm sure Paul's alluded to this, to actually grow these businesses, and yet the talent exists among them. So I think I feel called to a mission to do that. And I think the privilege for all of us sitting in this room is to be able to do it at scale. We have to do it big. We always say in technology, we say you do it big or go home. Because the youth problem is so huge. We have to create hundreds of millions of high-quality jobs over the next couple of years. So we can't afford to have small programs all over the place. We have to do large-scale integration that moves hundreds and hundreds of millions of small businesses to reasonable enough scales to create 5 jobs, 10 jobs, 20 high-quality jobs to actually make a change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ken and Njoroge. And we cannot conclusively speak about young people and their aspirations and the economic challenges without involving those in the academic space. And we have a person representing that sector, and we wish to welcome him to introduce himself.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Your Excellencies, oral protocol observed. I am Professor Vincent Bagire, a professor of strategic management at Amecea University Business School in Uganda. Carrying a real hope that through education, through academia, the youth can be transformed. And there is only one reality, if I give a brief of my track, is that all of us in this room were youth. That is the reality. But from that stage of youth, we have cardinals, we have bishops, we have archbishops, we have journalists, we have professors, we have all categories of professionals. So that is the real hope, that the youth today will be the cardinals, will be the archbishops, will be the professors, We'll be the entrepreneurs. We'll be the CEOs of KCB. So it's that hope that everyone has been a youth. I worked with the youth for quite a long time, and at times I say I was a youth for too long. Worked with the Catholic Secretariat in the office of the Catholic Youth, the students first, coordinator of the Catholic students, later for the youth, and later the youth started the HIV/AIDS in the peak of the 90s, and the bishops gave us a challenge to carry that cross and make sure that there is prevention of HIV/AIDS. So we started a unit, almost a department of HIV, and there was the program of officer in the HIV/AIDS program for the Catholic Church in Uganda. We moved all over, training youth on leadership, behavior change, prevention of HIV/AIDS. But at the same time, I was called to my former college and university to share knowledge. And in 2007, I went fully into academics. And through academics, I've been interacting with the youth at university. Even up to this morning at 2 a.m., I was marking scripts. And from what they wrote, I could see who is the youth and who is mature. From what they write. I teach them a whole semester, but you look through their scripts and say, this one is a youth. Someone was referring to the English. You could see what they write and say, they don't have time. They are looking for the future, which is very quick. We have a lot to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Bagire from Makerere. And I intentionally placed His Lordship in that order, and I would like to welcome him since he represents the church, and this gathering right here, the Amecea Plenary Assembly, is courtesy of the church. So welcome, and kindly introduce yourself, and just a word about what should give us hope about young people today.
Thank you so much. My name is Bishop Henry Juma Odonya, Bishop Catholic Diocese of Kitale here in Kenya. I'm also the chairman of the Commission for Youth Apostolate in Kenya, a commission that was established 1 year and several months ago. The church is there for the young people to journey with them, and specifically the Commission for Youth Apostolate was established to specifically journey with our young people who constitute a bigger majority of the population, not just in Kenya, but also across Eastern Africa. The church has always been there for the young people. Think of our dioceses, the bishops working in our dioceses with our young people. Think of our parishes, priests working every day, empowering our young people spiritually, economically. Think of our sisters, the different congregations working with our young people, empowering our young people. And in fact, even the testimonies given by some of the panelists here, that the church has really done a lot actually in journeying with them, giving them hope, and enabling them to be where they are. And that is still our vision as a church, to continue journeying with our young people and giving our young people hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Lordship. And whenever people speak about economic hardships, and of course our theme highlights, it pinpoints unemployment, migration, and social exclusion. Mostly it's just, most people mention about statistics, but let us name the reality now. We have young people here, and we'd like to know, economically and politically, how does the reality feel from the inside, not just from the statistics? Alex?
Well, thank you. What our focus today even on employment and the opportunities that are available for the youth. In real sense, I tend to think that employment is there. What is the challenge is the dignity that is in the opportunities that are available today. And we see this a lot with, even with the migration that we are experiencing all over Africa. We are seeing young people running to take any opportunity that comes by. We are seeing a lot of African youth wanting just to go abroad or to just move to another country just so that they can feel they have moved from their current setting. We should, even as we are addressing the unemployment issue, we also need to address the dignity of work. And I'd like to echo what Mr. Russo said. The church is actually very rich in information and in opportunity. If we were to take the youth through proper formation and familiarize them with the Catholic social teachings and the principles that go with it, it would actually help even combat some of these challenges that we are experiencing with the youth. We see a lot of youth trying to come up with new ideas that they don't know where to apply. If we are able to have them formed and actually have a basis in the church, specifically in case in point the Catholic Church, we would be able to help them come up with a strong foundation, if we would say so. Because some of the opportunities that are coming up, if looked at in a critical way, they should not even be qualified as opportunities. That's why we are seeing a lot of human trafficking happening. If we were to be able to give the youth a sense of identity and accepting themselves as Africans and as young people, and engaging them and encouraging them that their identity is actually something worth being proud of, they would be able to bring these talents and the kind of whatever it is that we are exporting to other countries can be used within our borders and within the African continent. Instead of now having them painting the idea that the promised land or the land of opportunity is elsewhere, we can be able to actually harness that talent and harness that skill to be used within our borders. And that will, in turn, create this employment that we are talking about, just like we've heard from the entrepreneurs on the panel. Once they started, they have been able now to bring in other people. Once the idea was given an opportunity, they've been able to get other people even to do even greater things than they had envisioned in the beginning.
Thank you. Chebet, you mentioned about building solutions and, of course, tapping on the available opportunities. Where do you see opportunities that perhaps many young people are overlooking in our world today?
Okay, thanks for that question. You know, when I reflect and I think about the assets that are God-given to us, we might think that the greatest asset is, money, influence, networks. But actually, the greatest God-given asset that we're given to each one of us is our minds. And when you look at the youth today, one of the loudest complaints and disgruntled we hear from them is that there is not enough opportunity, or opportunity is not given to them. But where does opportunity come from? Opportunity comes from being able to use your mind to see where there is a gap that needs to be solved. And as the design of God and the nature of God has it, the solutions that we come up with is something that we have experienced. So basically, even in this country as it is today, when we complain about the issues that we have, we could flip the script and call it opportunity. In any sector you look today, there's always something to do. And I like to joke around with my team and my family members that if you woke up every day and went and stood at Muthurwa, which is somewhere downtown in Nairobi City, for those who don't know, and walked all the way on the streets until uptown, you will not miss something to do. You will not miss an opportunity or something to see. So the onus is on us as young people to decide how we want to look at it. Do we want to complain? Or do we want to see where we can start? And you know, again, as the nature of God has it, we start with something small. So because of the lives we live today, the very fast lives we live today, and what the media shows to us, we see a lot of success stories. We see very advanced stories. And granted, it can be very difficult for a young person to reconcile a multinational company with where they are. You know, probably sitting in your bedsitter, not even having credit on your phone. It can be very difficult for them to reconcile that. And we appreciate that. And that's why I think that the opportunity for young people lies in looking around them and seeing what value they can add. Whether it's a transport issue, delivering something to someone more conveniently, whether it's getting a product to a customer cheaper, whether it's providing a service for a busy person that is not able to do it by themselves. It always lies around us. But I think the key to be able to see those opportunities first is to remove ourselves from the noise. Because once, if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you go is to social media to either see what people are complaining about or even to join in the complaints or that, it becomes very difficult for God to speak to you about the opportunities. So I would encourage young people, in order to see those opportunities, is to take a step back. Take a step back from all the noise. Yeah. So take a step back from all the noise. Sit with yourself, sit with God and ask Him, how can you use me in this generation, in this day and age, to add value to the society which I live in? And you will be surprised by what comes up and how many opportunities lie. And at the end of the day, I want to echo what my fellow entrepreneur has said. There's something about this generation that they have main character energy, courage. Let me tell you, I think it's so much easier to build a skill than to build courage. Courage is so difficult to get, and it's something that they have. So I think that with the courage they have, it's already inborn in them to be leaders. They will be great at what they choose to do. The only thing is they need to decide. We need to decide collectively, because I'm also a young person. And every one of us, not just the young people, every one of us, as long as you have breath in your lungs, it's a new opportunity for you to decide how you can add value to the society you live in today.
Thank you very much. That's quite profound, Chebet. And of course, mentioning about lacking data, and we are in the digital world, digital space, and of course, young people cannot be separated from this. And we've seen how much of the strength and courage you mentioned they demonstrate when they mobilize themselves through these platforms. Now, I'll direct this question to Ken. Technologies are transforming the world rapidly, and yet many young people still struggle to get meaningful employment. Is technology really closing the gap or widening it? Please help us make sense of this.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think technology is changing rapidly, but to be quite honest, that has been, the story around history. I think now the information is widely available, and the pace is happening at much faster cycles. And every new technology has, takes away some things that are old, but also it brings a lot of new opportunities. I think it is probably the greatest opportunity of our time. The fact that you could say technology is rapidly democratized, right? When I remember when I was 23 when I started my first company. Even a laptop was rare. Today, if you look at the mobile phone you are holding, It has more power than the computers that sent the first rocket to the moon. And it has happened in a very short period of time. So where is the opportunity and what can we do? I think Chebet has hit the nail on the head. You know, how do we harness the hearts and minds of these young people to be able to see actually these things as opportunities and to get hope? I think it's essentially everybody's story here. We were at one point as youth in a very, very young, informative stages of career, convened into a space, you know, in the church in Nakuru, at Strathmore, where you came and you saw face-to-face people that looked like you, that had a story very similar to yours, that were making progress. Mm-hmm. And I think the church it's probably the best institution that can create those spaces, just like as you've convened us today here. Could we create these spaces where we convene young people every Saturday, every Sunday, and where there are different people who come in and into those spaces talk about technology and AI and all of those things and where they are going and the opportunities around them, and where they sit face to face in close proximity with people that look like them. And so people then can begin to understand actually that money is not the barrier. The answers are not out there across the sea. The answers are right here where we are, and we can start where we are with what we have. The company that then became Cellulant only started with, you know, about $3,000. That's all I had. That was sort of my last paycheck from my last 3 months of my last job. I teach today entrepreneurs that started with nothing. So I think we need to create these spaces at scale in all of these churches, small spaces, large spaces, and so on, where these conversations happen almost eyeball to eyeball with the youth to be able to sort of ignite his heart and mind, so for them to begin to see the opportunities around them that are now being afforded by technology. And the good thing about AI and technology is now knowledge has become, you know, you can pull an expert opinion on any subject in the world in just a few minutes. So whatever problem you want to solve in your community, in your neighborhood, and so on, the expertise to solve that problem exists today on digital. And that is probably the greatest opportunity for the youth. And the jobs are not out there. Yesterday, I was having a long conversation with an incredibly educated young technology person. They can't find a job because the jobs are not there. It is these enterprises that need to be supported to grow 10 times, for there to be 10 times more institutions that are creating 5 jobs, 10 jobs, and so on. So the youth are the ones that are going to create the jobs that keep them employed. They're not going to come from anywhere else. And we have to start by repeating this message so consistently until the hearts and minds get to where Chebet is or where Alex is.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Ken. Paul, from where you sit, where do you see the biggest gap between the aspirations of young people and the opportunities that are actually disposable to them or available to them?
Wow, it's a big question. I think if you just take a step back, and especially for those of us who are CEOs who travel a lot, I can say I was fortunate or unfortunate to be at our head office at the center of Nairobi on 25th June, on 8th floor. I didn't experience that on TV, I experienced it live. If you are in Entebbe around about afternoon, Entebbe Airport, you'll see the young girls in uniform in hundreds. If you are in JKA very early in the morning, you'll see those who are boarding Saudi Arabian Air. If you are in DRC, you know what has happened in Eastern DRC. A bank like ourselves, we haven't opened 15 branches in the last 18 to 24 months. We have 150 families in terms of our employees that have not been doing anything. And I'll come because it's a complex. It's just employment. It's a whole complex. I think if we speak to the youth issue, then context and experiences are king. And now you ask directly about the missing link. And I think to be critical of institutions, because remember I said I'll represent corporate here, is in a number of instances, corporates have tended to chase profit. And we think we can thrive in an environment where you will make profits, but you're not building a sustainable future. For me, that's the biggest lesson that I've learned in the last 4 years that I've been Group CEO of KC. And that's why we've been extremely intentional, right? One example that I forgot to give is we advertised for 50 graduate trainees. We got 3 million. Central Bank of Kenya, in time of Dr. Njoroge, just before he left, advertised for interns. They got 7 million interns. Those are facts. You can't run away from. So we must be intentional as corporates to expand, and we are doing it, to expand internship, to expand those graduate training programs, to expand unpaid opportunities for skills development, to expand mentorship opportunities. We have to be intentional. And when I grew up in Marsabit, and I must boldly say, every single holiday, we had forums for youth across the county. Today's a county, those days we were just a diocese, right? Now people forget and mix. The county is a political organization, in many instances administrative. The diocese brought us together from every single corner of Marsabit Diocese to be able to build, to be grounded. Corporates must play that role together with it. Right? Yes. I think we must, as I said earlier on, we must support entrepreneurship. I think the missing gap is today you'll be asked if you are a youth and you have an idea. You'll be asked for a security. Be asked for 6 months statements of account. You'll be asked for a guarantor. Yet what Ken had, he's lucky that he had $1,000. Today they are coming to see us with bold ideas. And somebody has to bet on those bold ideas. That's why, for example, and I'm using KCB, we've set 1.5% of our profit to go to the foundation to be able to de-risk those enterprises. Because at the end of the day, a bank is a bank, it is regulated, the level of risk it can take is different. So you have to transfer that. Because where is the next cellulant going to come from? Where is the next Safaricom going to come from? Where is the next corporate going to come? It's going to come from the ideas and brilliant ideas the youth have today. Again, you must also, and this is a message of hope for youth, we're not just saying as corporates, we're actually doing it. If you notice, KCB acquired 2 local fintechs in the last 1.5 years to scale it up. Young people or young gentlemen who woke up, built some entities, they are value to add. You've got to put your money in to help them to scale. What I'm going to challenge, and as I lead this institution, is that we as CEOs and corporates will take a bold step to try and be part of the solution and not just hope, baseless hope, but be present in making sure that there is value. Because if you run entities, as I close, 25th June in Kenya must have woken up a number of corporate CEOs. You could be making billions in profits, but you could actually have no business tomorrow. we must be deeply invested to bridge that gap.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And of course, being that 2 year, great. You need to weigh in on that, Alex. Please feel free to do that.
Thank you very much. I'd want to weigh in on what Mr. Russo has said. Like he actually said in the beginning, if we are able to push the formation, especially of the Catholic social teachings, into our entrepreneurship, into our corporates, we would be able to even change all that. Like he has said, we see a lot of corporates reporting, and even banks and big companies reporting of profits day in and day out. But does this profit, does this growth really translate into the common good? Does it translate into opportunities for the young people? Does it also translate to the employees in these corporates saying that they actually have dignity of work? So it's a challenge that is out there that needs to be addressed. And I believe that can be easily addressed through community-driven approaches. And the church is the biggest community. If we are able to even create those opportunities, like we're saying, the challenge is we have great ideas, but you might not even know where to start. You would think you would start by approaching maybe a bank, and they will ask you for a guarantor. A young person will not know where to start. So I would pose a challenge even to the church to even start those community-based interactions. Let us create a network where accountants know each other within the church. We have people in the medical field who know each other. And now we have technology. We have WhatsApp groups. You can easily create a WhatsApp group of medics in a parish, in a diocese, and people can join in. We need to have a forum where accountants can actually be together. Somewhere that even though I don't have to look for Mr. Russo in his office, I can post and say we have some opportunities here, and maybe he's in that forum, that Catholic forum, and he can see it. And that way we are able to network and create value. And with that said, now you can pick these young people and now form them and give them information, because I have been privileged to work under the youth ministry for almost 9 years now, as a formator and even as a youth leader. And sometimes you pose the question to the young people, like, do you actually know what the church says about this? And like the discussion was happening here yesterday, there was a lot of complaint about inclusion, and they feel like they're being excluded, and like they don't have an identity. But in real sense, what we have in this room is a whole well of information and knowledge. So many of us who are seated here have studied encyclicals and the traditions of the church, but the youth do not have access or do not know that this information actually exists. If you ask a young person today, a Catholic person, or even on Sunday I was challenging some of them, do you think the church has any information about AI? And they would say no. The church has not addressed that. Yet, there is actually an encyclical that was published last year by, yes?
Last month.
It was actually, there's information that is out there. So what we actually need is proper formation of the youth and bridging that gap. Because I believe sometimes it is assumed that by the time you're hitting a certain age, you already know something. We need to continue, just like we emphasize on catechism for the children to a certain age. Can you also pick up these young people, especially from the age of 15, 16 to 35? Can we also pick them up and give them a curriculum of formation and tell them that this is actually what the church recommends. This is what the church teaches about how you should carry yourself. And that is now embodied in the Catholic social teaching.
Great. And you bring in a very important point of formation, and I think it's very key in this space, formation and continuous formation. And at this point, allow me to bring in faith and governance, because I think this falls under that purview. Your Lordship, in your position or capacity as the chairman of the Commission for Youth Apostolates, I know you continue to journey with young people, but where must faith and family, church, governance institutions accompany these young people through these struggles, and especially through formation? And I know that's what you do partly, forming young people, working with them, listening to them, and of course trying to find the most effective response to what they raise.
Okay, thank you so much. The relationship between faith and governance, and especially with regard to formation of our young people, is very, very important. And the formation equips the young people, and it also helps them to get information. And through that information, they are able to empower themselves so as to empower other people. And the Commission for Youth Apostolate is there to continue journeying with our young people, and also try to organize formation spaces. And in fact, as the panelists have said, that the church can offer, and it is offering, a nice space where youths can be formed spiritually and also in matters entrepreneurship. And formation is something that we really ought to take seriously to our young people, to journey with them, because information empowers. And as one panelist has said, that many young people don't know about the encyclicals or things that talk about AI and all that. And it is a challenge on our part to continue working very closely with our young people, and also to create the bridges. I'm happy that the panelists here as professionals and entrepreneurs, that this can offer a bridge that will bring the church, our young people, and connect them to our entrepreneurs, so that they will be able to empower them in different forums. And we, as pastors in the church, also to empower them also spiritually in matters faith, so that they will be integrally formed. And in fact, the issue of is faith and governance is very, very key, because these young people ought to be formed in leadership, so that they will be able to know what is their responsibility today, what will be their responsibility tomorrow, so that wherever responsibility they'll be given today or tomorrow, they will be very, very effective. And also, there is this issue that is, I think it's important, that moving beyond the pulpit and equipping our young people with vocational skills is also very, very, very key. And also creating opportunities for giving them small loans, microfinancing, and also as a matter of empowering them, also championing the dignity of manual labor, so having that personal creativity in terms of looking around the opportunities that will be there. And I think that will empower them in a very, very special way, because they will be able to understand that they have those opportunities and take good care of those opportunities, be able to govern their own things that they have come up with, the entrepreneur, the entities that they have come up with, so as to make themselves successful. And we are the people to be with them, to encourage them, and to give them hope.
Thank you. And still staying with you, Your Lordship, of course, today's discussion is centered on a pastoral response. And what is it that the church is already doing? Where is the church making a difference? And where can we honestly agree that we can do better or we can do more, especially among the church and all other key players who are important in this space?
Okay, thank you so much. The church is responding in very many ways, but we still need to do more. In our different dioceses, there are various programs that keep on empowering our young people in different departments. And these programs have given many people hope, even most of us here. They have been empowered by the church, but we still need to do more. And when it comes to the issue that one of the panelists also talked about migration, this is a reality that young people are moving. The world is very small now, and many young people are also going out looking for opportunities. And the church is there for them, to give them hope. And many of our young people, they are really suffering. Because when they go from one place to another looking for work, they need support. Some are traumatized. And the church is doing also a lot on that, journeying with them in different areas, and offering counseling and also cross-border assistance. And also one of the most important things that I see is also very important is that the church has always been very prophetic in castigating unjust structures that impoverish our young people. And I think when you look at those structures, young people can have very good ideas. But if the structures do not favor our young people in terms of empowering them, it becomes a very big challenge. And the church has always been there talking about that, taking up that issue, and reminding always that the governments to be very keen in terms of job creation, in terms of the issues of immigration, and also now as here being within Eastern Africa, the issue of immigration is very crucial. People can move from Uganda, Kenya, they go to Ethiopia, they go to Zambia. Our young people looking for opportunities. And such a forum can help also to lessen the xenophobic, that mentality that young people cannot come from this region and go to that region to work and look for opportunities. So the church is there, and especially a forum like this, to enhance that opportunities can be found anywhere. And our young people can freely go and get opportunities. So, and I think this plenary assembly is also very key in that, to enhance that also. Yeah,
you stress about migration, and I think there's a question that will be directed to all panel members. But for now, since we've already had perspectives from the ministry, from entrepreneurship, finance, technology, let's invite Professor now to help us make sense of the bigger picture. What exactly are the structural realities shaping economic future of young people across the region? And from where you see it, what does authentic accompaniment really look like, given that many young people are carrying burdens of unemployment, economic uncertainty, and social exclusion?
Thank you very much. Just before we came into this panel, a student, I think a prospective student, I don't know, sent me a WhatsApp that I've been admitted to Makerere to study sciences, in bracket physical. And then he added that many people were asking him we're advising him to go and instead do a diploma in the land surveying and landscaping. So he asked me, what do I do? What's my guidance? Immediately told him, go for the degree. I ended. Then he said, thank you, sir. Then I added that go for the degree. After that, look for what life will need and get the right skill. That summarizes it all. That given the education we gave at university, we teach, we assess students and let them fly to meet the economic realities, to meet family realities, to meet community realities. At universities, we don't give a warranty. At graduation, the employers take as is, at your risk. What does it mean? The youth, all of us, when we were youth through education, we were being prepared for life. We were being prepared for reality out there. The economic reality the students are facing in school is at times blindfolding. What is required is to have models, to have people talk to them. And at one time, students told me in class that you people overteach us and let's talk to us. So I went to my faculty staff, those I was supervising, I told them, for every 15 minutes when you go to class, tell the students your story, where you have come from, before you start the teaching. When students are in school, like for example in the business school, they'll go out when they have studied accounts, human resource, procurement, everything. It's a package. We are building their feathers to go and fly. The skies in which they will fly is not our side. And that's what my fellow entrepreneurs were saying. The youth come with a different reality. Fees is thinking that things are straight. The skies are different. The entrepreneur needs someone who is important, who is skilled, who is committed. And the one reality, dear young people listening in here, is that many youth, or graduates for that matter, are not only unemployed, but unemployable as well. There is something that we need to do as animators, as church, as universities, as entrepreneurs, but there is also a lot on their side to learn how to be patient, to learn how to understand, to learn to keep time, even to learn how to dress, to learn how to talk. I told you in this morning how to write. You tell them to write an application, they don't have time. They use short form. And he's an entrepreneur, he's a CEO, and he's seeing signs of language which he cannot understand. So we need a lot as teachers, we have a lot as church, we have a lot as entrepreneurs. The economic reality, but the economic reality has never been different. The economy of Kenya in 1960 was pushing the youth of that time in its reality, just as the economy of today. How did the youth of 1960 make it? That's the question. So to me, dear youth, all of us concerned, we only need to set structures, as Bishop has said, to support them, but much of the demand is on their side, to learn, to understand the reality, and to maneuver. That's the word. And life will go on. They will not be youth much longer. They will be the adults tomorrow, and they'll be saying, the youth are bad. They are not bad. They were youth once upon a time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And allow me to briefly address the issue of migration, because it's something, I'll give you time, Chebet. You wanted to weigh on what Professor said? You need something to contribute to that? Okay, all right. So on migration, many people consider migration as a problem. Yet for many thousands, millions of young people, it is actually a rational response to unemployment, or in search of employment or better education, dignity, security, and all that. How do we create societies where migration is a genuine choice and not an economic necessity? I'll give the first two panel members to respond to this, because it is an issue that really the church has been speaking about, apart from other issues that young people go through, unemployment, education that doesn't match up to what they expect, in the health sector. And then most of the time, these things, as His Lordship mentions, make them to really sink into drug and substance abuse. This was also brought out yesterday during the youth presentation. So I'll take the first two. How exactly can we create spaces that migration is not considered just as an economic necessity because you are running away from something or trying to find something better? Yes, Alex.
Well,
and then His Lordship will come in.
To mitigate migration is one thing that we need to do is we need to dignify work. And there's a common Benedictine rule that says to work is to pray. I believe that is something that needs to be instilled in our youth. We need to instill that principle for them to know that you don't really have to look for the soft life. The soft life will come after you have worked. Unfortunately, most of them think that you can be born and start the soft life. You cannot live the life of a CEO without having to be the laborer. You have to be the one doing the job first before you become a CEO. So we need to dignify the work. And we need to actually tell them you need to do the work. Because like Prof has said, most of the young people today don't really want to put in the work. They don't have the discipline, they don't have the principles of working. And without dignifying work, then they'll always be looking for something else. So you will move from here, you'll go to Saudi Arabia, and you'll find out, oh, Kumba, I need to work. You'll move from there, you go to the United States, and you realize, oh, I need to work even more hours. We're having so many young people moving from Africa, where we have so much fertile land, agricultural land, and moving to places now where I even saw a post the other day of someone complaining that they're buying an avocado that is outside their compound. They're buying it at $5. And wondering, why should I be buying this? And my mom has it outside the compound. So we need to dignify the work. We need to dignify our African work, like the agricultural sector. The pastoral sector, like I like what Mr. Russo keeps on saying. He's a hawker. He says he takes care of camels. But if you look at him, does he actually look like a herder? we need to dignify the work to start with. And actually give the young people a sense of identity and appreciating ourselves as who we are and not really comparing ourselves to what we see on mainstream media. This can also come in as a challenge even to us who are in the church and in leadership positions. Sometimes we have what is good and we're not able to sell it out there. But what is bad is being sold out so publicly and so freely. So we are seeing so many things that don't need to be in society being published on social media, yet what is important and what is dignified is not being put out there. So, especially for the Catholic Church, we need to take up the challenge and take our evangelism online. We need to take our pastoral goals online, because this is where most of the young people are. And without feeding them this information and showing them that there are opportunities actually that you can get within the church and within disciplined measures, we will lose them.
Thank you very much, Alex. And of course, the issue of migration, you brought in the aspect of as a leader being able to soil your hands. So I'll give His Lordship just a few seconds to weigh in, and then we will close our discussion.
Okay, thank you so much. The issue of migration is a complex issue. And this issue also requires really a pastoral response. Because when you look at the world, even this region of Amecea, we are connected. And people are in constant communication. And people are moving up and down. And we would like to encourage our young people that we continue working hard, as the entrepreneurs here have said, that there are opportunities so in our countries where we are. But I'm sure also opportunities will come elsewhere. And wherever that our young people go, they continue to work hard, they must work hard. However, there are many risks also when it comes to the component of immigration. And we have had that, some going to maybe Saudi Arabia or other places. And the issues of abuse there and all those things come in. But there are some also who go and they become successful also. And it's also something to be encouraged. The world is a village. And there are also others who migrate for, the environmental issues, because of drought, because of this and that. The pastoralist communities, people need to move from one place to another to get something good. They also need the attention, also. So as a church, within that complexity of the issue of immigration, the church is always there. And also creating advocacy to have structures that protect those who migrate from one place to another, and also to ensure that their dignity as human beings is also respected and is also protected wherever they are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and our time is up. There's quite a lot to speak about, but I'll give 2 seconds each. Just one message you would tell a young person who is watching you currently in as far as today's discussion is concerned. I'll start from my left, going towards the right.
Yeah, I think the message to
5 seconds.
to all of us is that this bad migration will happen and continue to happen until we do something about it. And those of us in this room are privileged, and we have to, the way we justify our privilege is to do the hard work of creating those opportunities for hearts and minds for those youth. To the youth, I think you're ready. You're ready for leadership. You're ready to create businesses. Just start where you are with what you have. Start where you are with what you have.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
My message would be to the youth. Everyone you see, including the bishops and those of us in the panel, have a unique story. They were not just planted in that position. You've got to be a part of building your own story, and they are available, including CEOs, and I speak for CEOs. They are available to support you in your journey. I thank you.
Mine is to tell the youth that opportunity will not find you in the confines of your room. You will have to go out there and push for that space. The youth, it is possible to actually be collaborators and co-creators of pastoral guidelines, even as from the position that you are in. You don't have to wait to be a priest, to be a bishop. Move from where you are, move from that group, move from your community, and come and participate in the church. And you will actually see the inclusion. You will actually see the involvement that we are fighting for. And that is a place that we will find our identity, and we will be able to thrive and bring our dreams to life. Thank you.
Chebet.
My message to the youth is, young people, right now is when you will have the most energy and the most time that you will ever have in your life. As you get older, your responsibilities grow, your energy dwindles. Use this time wisely and use your energy to build something. It's easy to criticize outside, but turn that criticism inward and ask yourself, am I doing my best? Am I building something? Will I be on the right side of history? Thank you.
Let's go to Professor, please.
For our young people, those still in school, commit yourself to education when you are still able to. but combine your education with simple, basic human values, skills that make an integral, rounded person. And remember, you will not be used much longer.
Thank you, Your Lordship.
To our young people listening to us, we want to tell you that the church loves you and that challenges will come in life. Difficulties will come in life. Don't lose hope. The church is with you, to journey with you, to encourage you, and to pray for you and to pray with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And one truth stands out, that young people are not just merely the future of the church and our societies, they are the present. And the most painstaking challenge before us is not simply to acknowledge the struggles that young people go through, but to journey with them in ways that create hope, dignity, and opportunity. We can not just be hawkers of hope, but let's also ensure that this hope brings about meaningful and sustainable change in the lives of young people. Thank you very much to our distinguished panelists and to all of you for being part of this important conversation. May today's dialogue help us and inspire us to listen more deeply, to collaborate more intentionally, and to act courageously for the good of all our young people. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Once again, let us give the panel an applause. I will ask the panelists to stay on for a minute. I think they have really given a great discussion on the conversation of today.